The manhwa begins with a stormy sky and a colossal bolt of lightning. It is revealed to be a man's attack, causing the ground itself to split. As the sounds of the storm fade, we learn about the first king. This title was given to the man who subjugated the Jianghu martial arts world with his bare fists alone. He is called by this title more often than his actual name, Dan Woosung. He stares down at a man, his eyes looking annoyed. Suddenly he feels a sharp pain in his abdomen and reaches down to feel a wound. He explains that he was attacked by a mysterious group. He has dealt with all of them except for the final two, who are looking down at him from a cliff. Comments on how skilled they look. He wonders where they came from. Ready to end this, he punts one of the bodies toward the two of them. As it flies toward them, he asks the sword demon to help him, but the demon took the attack from behind a little too literally. As Dan Woosung cuts the body in half, sending two chunks falling to the floor, he notes that the enemy did that with zero hesitation, meaning they must be used to fighting dirty. He spots a tag that has the word blood written on it. Woosung recognizes it. Paired with their cruelty, he now knows they are from the demonic faction. The sword demon jumps down, saying he is impressed that Woosung held up for so long and that he truly deserves his title. Woosung tells him to shut up, declaring he will kill him in just 10 attacks. He begins to widen his stance. The sword demon draws his blade, calling Woosung arrogant, and swings toward him, sending out purple strikes. He says they will see how long his arrogance lasts. The first attack explodes, but Woosung ducks underneath it, charging his hand for an attack and closing the gap. In an instant, he hits the sword demon straight in the chest, surprising him. The demon drops his sword and begins to spit up blood. Woosung counts 1 and immediately comes in with a second attack, launching a barrage of up to 6 hits. He notes that this is strange, as his attacks seem to be missing all of the enemy's vital points. Now up to 9 attacks, Woosung says it feels like someone is restraining him as a faint purple line appears around his arm. The other person, the Marionette, is the one doing it, but Woosung doesn't know when it started. Distracted momentarily, the sword demon grabs his blade and pierces Woosung through the chest. As Woosung coughs up blood and grabs the blade, the sword demon declares that the Fist King's reign ends here. However, the demon's eyes widen in surprise as the purple aura thread snaps with brute force. Woosung grits his teeth, rears his fist back, and strikes straight toward the sword demon. A massive explosion follows. As the dust settles, the sword demon is left with nothing but a graze on his cheek. He begins to laugh out of relief, saying, "Woosung is one hell of a fighter, and only missed due to blood loss," though we see that the attack would have completely deleted him. The Marionette notes that it could have been dangerous. The sword demon starts poking Woosung's head, mocking him, only to get hit with a surprise uppercut. Woosung says that was the 10th attack. The Marionette laughs as the sword demon looks embarrassed. Woosung admits his strength is leaving him. This is the end. He is regretful he didn't hit him one last time. He dies at the hands of the demonic faction. A giant blue lightning bolt strikes a courtyard. We are brought to the Yunha merchant group safe house near Mount Jua. A woman stands over a bed saying, "That was scary." As Dan Woosung slowly opens his eyes, he is confused. She asks if he is all right. He wonders where he is, surprised he was treated. Sitting up in bed, he notices he has no injuries. She asks if he wants water. Woosung agrees but is curious why she is calling him First Young Master. As he sips his water, he glances in a nearby mirror and does not recognize his face at all. He spits the water out like a fountain and tries to remove his face, mistaking it for a mask. However, there is no seam on his neck. The girl notices his strange behavior and leaves to get the physician. Woosung even slaps himself to check if he is dreaming. Woosung surmises this couldn't be the work of the demonic faction. He wonders whose face he is wearing. He tries to rise but struggles to walk even 2 steps, stating his body feels awful, like the aftermath of a grueling leg day. He reaches a desk and reads a book labeled Yunha Merchant Group. He recognizes it as a large group near Mount Jua. He discovers letters addressed to the body's owner, the eldest son, Jin. The letters request money or invite him to gamble. Woosung realizes he is a loser. Concluding it isn't sorcery, he believes he is reincarnated. Suddenly, a man yells, and the physician Gongsun enters. Woosung cringes, wondering who this is. Gongsun checks his pulse, but Woosung pulls away. Gongsun brings chicken soup, claiming it is for his health. Woosung criticizes it, realizing the soup is rotten and poisonous for someone so weak. He realizes Gongsun is a snake who has been poisoning Jin. Gongsun mentions the Dragon Phoenix martial competition, which has been running for 200 years. Woosung tells him to leave the soup and get out. Once alone, Woosung sighs. The timeline means it hasn't been long since he died, so the demonic faction is still alive. He vows to beat them all, including this snake-like physician, with a single hit. Time jumps forward. The maids are surprised that the young master, who used to eat only porridge, now has a crazy appetite and exercises regularly. Woosung, now Jin, shoves the door open. He is no longer frail. He asks for breakfast. As he leaves, the staff notices he looks much healthier. Physician Gongsun knocks at his door. Jin tells him to enter. Gongsun acts happy to see him healthy, but Jin is annoyed by the act. Jin asks what he needs. Gongsun says he came out of loneliness since he hadn't heard from him. Jin asks if his efforts felt meaningless, referring to the poisoning. Gongsun feigns ignorance, calling the soup a nourishing tonic. Jin tells him to stop acting. He asks Gongsun to get writing tools to dictate a letter. As Gongsun prepares to write, Jin says, "Due to my severe illness, I will be staying in the villa. Since my life is stubbornly long, I want advice on what to do next." Gongsun freezes. Jin throws chopsticks that fly past Gongsun's neck, piercing the wall. Gongsun bleeds as Jin reveals he knows everything. The soup was poison, and Gongsun has been monitoring his pulse to ensure he stays weak. Jin demands the name of the person giving the orders. Gongsun tries to play the victim, but Jin stares him down. Gongsun drops the act, calls Jin a fool, and decides he must kill the maids too. He brandishes a hidden needle, but Jin swings down, palming the top of his skull. Gongsun spits blood. Jin tells him to stop having funny ideas. Jin realizes his current body is pitiful and weak. He declares that once he recovers his strength, he will investigate the mastermind, even if it is the entire Yunha merchant group. Suddenly, he feels a sharp pain, and flashbacks flood his mind. Memories of the original Jin. Tears roll down his face. He realizes the original Jin wasn't as smart or strong as his brothers and coped with money and pleasure. Now, with the memories integrated, Dan Woosung can focus on martial arts. He is excited that such a wealthy body was wasted and plans to use the money to buy health items. He looks at Gongsun's corpse and says he needs to bury him. A 1-year time skip occurs. The seasons change throughout the estate. A man enters the gate saying he has a letter for the young master. This is Mok In Siop, a member of the Yunha merchant group's guard squad. A maid tells him the master is training. Mok In Siop glances over at the man meditating and thinks, "There is no way that is the young master I remember." During this year, Jin has manifested his energy core and engraved all the martial arts required for survival onto his new body. And that is the first arc of Reincarnation of the Fist King. If you want to see Jin use his money to dominate the martial arts world, hit that like button and subscribe for part 2.